Hello everyone. Today I'm going to run through how to make a patch for your synth with Playtonik Pro. So the first thing we do is we need to connect the device. There are a number of ways to do this. I will link a more extensive guide down in the description below. Today we're just going to connect directly to the circuit tracks that I have here via USB, which is one of the simpler ways. There we go, now we're all connected. Just make sure that it is there in the MIDI output. It'll be labeled as MIDI. So now we have that done, we can go ahead and make the patch. So we can go into here, we can create a new patch. And then if you tap on these three dots over here, it will open the edit menu. So now we can go ahead and add our first parameter that we want to change. Tapping on these buttons will open the edit menu down below, where you can change the name of the parameter that you want to change. This doesn't affect the functionality, it's just to remember what you've been doing. You change the CC number, that's the message that it will send to the synth to actually do the control. And then the range, which based on how much the ball is bouncing around inside the shape in Playtonik, it will output a value between these two numbers. So let's add a distortion control for the kick drum. Just going to call it dist. And then I know that the distortion control for the kick is on channel 16, is a CC 16. So put that in. If you want to find the CC values for your synth, most synthesizers will come with a manual. Just look for MIDI parameters or something like that, and you should be able to find it. There are also a bunch of very good community resources available for this information. I will put a link to a great one in the description as well. So there we go, set the CC value, and now we can change the range if we want to. At the minute, it's 0 to 127, so either no distortion or full distortion is probably good for this. So circuit tracks, like a few other instruments, takes in many different channels of information. So synth 1 and synth 2, synth 1 is on channel 1, synth 2 is on channel 2. All of the drum control messages go over channel 10. And so because this changes, we need to set different settings for each parameter. So we enable override MIDI output, make sure to select the device, and then we can change the channel. So as I said, drums are on channel 10. So that's all looking good. So what we can do now is we make sure that that's selected, press done, we go back, and we'll see that in our top left here, we've got our dist control. So I've got a little program on circuit tracks. We're on drum setting 1, so this is just our kick drum. We can give that a play. And then if we add a bell in, you'll hear the distortion change as the bell bounces around. And the harder it hits, the faster it's moving, the more distortion will get out of that control. So I'll just stop that. So we've added one parameter now. I'm just going to speed up the video while I go through the others. The process is very much the same. Just before I get into that, I haven't touched on this invert control down here. So sometimes we will want the, instead of a hard-hitting, fast-moving ball to give us the maximum value, we'll want it to give us the minimum value instead. Think of it creating like a ducking effect. So if we turn this on, I'll show you what I mean. So if we go back and play our drum loop again, now when we play our dist, as the ball hits and moves faster, it will duck the distortion, and the distortion will increase in moments where the ball is moving slower. So probably not what we want for this particular patch, so we'll just toggle that back down. So yeah, as I said, now I'm going to speed up the video and I'll work through changing all of the rest of the parameters to something reasonable. So for this, we're going for an EQ on the hi-hat and the snare. Each one of those will be applied separately. We're doing a pulse width control and a wave shape control on each of the synthesizers, again, individually. And we're going to put a control on the global filter. This is far from the only setup that is possible. Anything that you can map to a CC control on any synthesizer that takes in standard MIDI, you can control using this system. So play around, see what you can find. So now that's all set up, let's see it in action. So we'll start with our kick drum again. Now we can add in a snare. Let's hear that EQ, this EQ on the snare. Let's introduce a hi-hat. And let's hear this EQ. And our synth 1. And let's control the pulse width and the wave shape of that. And introduce our synth 2. And again, pulse width and wave. So let's try that all together. And then on top of that, let's get the cutoff going. So now we've gone through how to make a patch, you can go and make your own. We'd love to see what you come up with, so make sure you tell us all about your creations in the comments below this video, and tag the 512 Instagram in any of your posts. So for now, goodbye.